Sherri Morgan is the music supervisor for Hallsville ISD and director of bands. She has been teaching at Hallsville for 44 years. Her band have received numerous awards and recognitions on the state and national level. Sherri has been honored with Teacher of the Month for HISD, Bobcat Pride Award, Texas Music Educator All-State Alumni Band, Who's Who Among High School Teachers, and the 2005 Distinguished Alumni Award. She is a 1970 graduate of Hallsville High School, earned a Bachelor of Music degree and a Master of Education degree from Stephen F. Austin State University. We caught up to Miss Morgan and asked a few questions about her time as a band director and educator.
My name is Sherri Morgan. I'm the Director of Bands for Hallsville Independent School District. I've been here for 46 years. I was at the junior high. I was the first junior high band director, and I was at the junior high for 16 years. And then when Mr. Bobby Goff retired, I moved up to the high school, so I've been here the rest of the time. So I've been very fortunate to get to come back to my alma mater and be able to teach and work here with all these fine students. I am originally from Longview, Texas. I grew up in Longview Heights. In fact, our house was the third one built in Longview Heights. And there's a step going into the kitchen at my parents' house that has my footprint on it that says May the 1st, 1952. And recently, I sold my house that I'd lived in Longview for 34 years, that the kids every year came enrolled by Macedonia Baptist Church, because we bought some more land on Page Road, and we're going to redo a farmhouse and move there eventually. But I moved back into my parents' house, so we're remodeling it right now. So I'm back where I started out. So that's what's going on with my family. My mother and daddy were avid Bobcat supporters. I had a sister that was killed when she was 10 years old in a car wreck right down the road from our house. And so we had a tough time with that growing up. But the whole time I was at Hallsville, the teachers, the community, they all supported us through that tragedy. And so I learned that that's what you do. And I see in Hallsville, anytime we have anything, any tragedy, everybody comes and supports everybody else. So the community of Hallsville is like a great big family. And so that's the way I've tried to do our band program. We're a great big family. We take care of each other. I tell the kids, I know you're like brothers and sisters, but brothers and sisters fight sometimes. But if somebody tries to do something to us, we're all there to take care of one another. So it kind of works that way. I used to be their mother. Now I think I'm their grandmother. So, but it's important. On my teaching staff, I have all ages of staff members, men and women, and it's important to have different personalities because all the kids have different personalities and they can relate to different people. So that's part of my teaching philosophy because we have to have a relationship with our students. It's very, very important. You have to know what's going on in their lives. They have to be able to trust you, that they can come to you, and they have to see you do those things. They have to see you be there for them. And that's very important because, some of them, especially the young ladies, sometimes they'll gravitate toward the men because they need a daddy figure. And the young men will gravitate toward the women because they need a mama figure. So we try to be those things for them, especially up here at school. We see them more than anybody else. We spend a lot of time with them. In the afternoons when school's out, most of the time we have to run them out of the band hall even after we're through practicing because they continually want to be out here because it's their safe place and it's a place they can work and have fun and know that people care about them and love them. So we've tried to adopt that philosophy. We try to work hard and have fun and learn life lessons, and that's what life is all about. And when we do go through things, we talk about what lesson have we learned and what can we do, how do we act. I know when we lost our 3 scouts, that was just a unbelievable tragedy for our community and for our families and for their families. And the kids had no idea what they were supposed to do, how they were supposed to act or anything. And so we just took them in and told them what to do, especially the young men. The girls were up here, we met up here, and the young men didn't know what to do. The girls were, they were shedding tears and crying, and the guys were trying to be tough. And finally, we just called them aside and said, the shortest verse in the Bible says Jesus wept. It's okay. This is the time that we do that. And so some of them had never been to a funeral, had never gone through anything like this. We loaded it on buses and took them, and they supported the families and each other, and they learned to do what you need to do in life, and how you express your feelings and how you go through the grief process. So those are things that we learn other than music out here. We learn how to do those things. And like I said, I've taught at Hallsville. This is my 46th year. I just got my 45-year pin, and it's great. And some people said, well, when are you going to retire? And my answer to them is that, I may try to make it to 50. I don't know, but the Bible says, work till Jesus comes. So that's what I'm doing. I'm still having fun. It's not really a job. It's a mission. I feel like I was called onto the mission field 46 years ago, and that's what I'm trying to do is help young people be successful in life and help them get through problems in their life while we're teaching them to play music and enjoy music, because music is the universal language. You can express all kind of emotions, all kind of feelings, everything with music. You can tell that by our performances at the football game when we're trying to get the football team pumped up, or we're trying to play so loud that the other team can't hear, stuff like that. We're having fun doing those things. So that's what that's all about. And if I had something that I wish I had known when I started out teaching, one of the things that I wish I knew was how important it is for you to have the proper relationship with these kids, so that you know what's going on in their life, so you know what's going on in their family, so you know that if they're coming to school and they don't have any money to eat on, if they don't have any money to do the things we do, if they can't afford a horn and they want to be in band. I know when I started out in band, my parents couldn't afford a horn. And at that time, the only thing the school furnished was a drum and a tuba. And I was very, very small, and we started band in the 5th grade. So I had to play drums. I wanted to play the clarinet, and my daddy goes, I'm not going to buy you a clarinet. You won't stick to this. And so, I got on drums, and I showed him I was going to stick to it. I stuck to it, and, the whole way through, my parents were very, very supportive of me, and band just turned out to be what got me through school. Now, I graduated as salutatorian of Hallsville High School in 1970, but what got me through that and made me able to do all that and face all the things I had to face and go through what all I had to go through was being a part of the band and being able to excel there. And I worked very, very hard. At the time, the high school band director lived right beside me, and he would come to school every morning about 7 a.m., and he would come home about 9 o'clock at night. And I would ride the band van with him to school every day because we were neighbors. And I learned music theory. I learned how to play all the other instruments while I was up there. He let me work with the beginner band. I took classes, and he let me even direct the beginner band. So I got a big head start before I went to college, and it was great being able to do that because being a band director is not a job; it's a lifestyle. And if you can't live that lifestyle, you're not going to be successful as a band director. I know people say to me, why do you do all these things with these kids? Why do you spend time doing that? Because they're my family, and that's what we do. Yeah. We work together. We work hard, but we play, and we like to have a lot of fun. I like to get them all the time. I play tricks on them and stuff, and they'll fall for it. And I've got some great stories on some things that I've done at a later date. If you want to hear some of those, for some of these alumni, we're having our 70th anniversary of the Bobcat Band this year, and we're having a great big celebration. So we started a Facebook page that's Bobcat Band alumni. And boy, they are getting each other. They're showing pictures from all the years, but they're trying to get me too. So I'm going to get them back big time. But I've got some great stories that I can tell. Oh, and they just wait. They're just going to have to wait. And we used to roast them every year. All the seniors would have a roast, and it was big time. I mean, I've got books from each year that we gave them of their senior roast. So I'm going to start posting some of those and letting them remember what they used to do. I know one young man that is a youth pastor at Mobberley Baptist Church was my first chair trumpet player, Will Hagel. And in his roast, I predicted that he would be a pastor. So he followed in those footsteps, and he's a great young man, and I think band was very important to him. His mother would go with us on all of our trips, and we just had a great time during that time. So I have all kind of stories and all kind of band parents that we've been close through all these years and the great times that we've had. That's the thing, because we're a family, the parents are involved too. They get out there, and these parents, when we do things, they'll be in charge of kids at camp and stuff like that. Well, the kids just take them and treat them like they're their parents, and some of them still today are friends with those families because those chaperones were there and made a difference in their life. And that's what we're there for, to make a difference in young people's life, to be a sounding board, to be somebody they can come to and trust and talk about things and know that we're there to help them. So that's very, very important. If somebody wants to be a teacher today, there's so many changes that have taken place when I first started teaching. In fact, when I moved to my parents' house this summer, I went through a box of stuff and I found my first TRS statement. And my first year as a teacher, I made $6,750 for the year. So you don't get into it for money. And if that's what you want to get into it for, you're getting into it for the wrong thing. What you need to get into it for is because you have a passion for what you're doing and you want to share it with other people and help make a difference in their lives. Out of our band program, I think there's almost close to 40 young people who've gone into the music field, who have gone to college and majored in music, who are either teaching elementary music or band directors, or now we even have some professionals in Nashville that are promoters up there and stuff. So it's very important. I've even got band students that ended up being choir directors because we share band and choir together. It's all together. It's all music, and it all makes a difference in their lives. So it's very, very important for those kind of things to happen. And one thing some college band directors have told me, when your kids graduate, the majority of them go on to college someplace and still play their horns. And so it's a lifelong learning skill. They can play in churches. They can play in community bands and things. They play through college. Even students that are not music majors, they just go to play. Of course, we have the advantage that we can almost get them 2 years of junior college almost free by playing their instruments. So that saves their parents tons of money, and the band scholarships are available out there big time. So we have, and our band booster gives 10 major scholarships. So we have the funds to help these kids go on through, not just when they finish at Hallsville, but go on through college, and then they come back and help in other areas. There's a bunch of my former students that are teaching here in Hallsville right now, so it's great. And a bunch of my former students are band directors in this area, and it's great to see them succeed. It's like they're your own kids, and I try to go to at least one of their contests so I can see them perform and congratulate them because they picked up the torch and they're doing the same thing. But if you're not willing to do that, if you're not here just for kids, teaching is not the profession to get into. There's a lot going on in our world today, in our government today, and teachers have a lot of roles to play, and it's hard to do. It's very, very tiring. It takes time away from your family. So what I had to do was just incorporate my family into what I do, and it became part of them. Both of my kids were in band. My son was an all-state percussionist. My daughter played percussion and she played bassoon. She was my drum major and a twirler, and she's teaching my majorettes and flags right now. So they've kind of carried it through there. And then all my grandkids, they've been raised in the band hall too, so they've gone through here playing in the band and working, and it's just amazing to see how one decision that I made a long time ago has affected our entire family and our entire band program here. It's just, it's amazing how God directs your paths. I know when I was in band here, I was a drummer, and you never saw girl drummers. People would point out, look, there's a girl drummer out there marching. And that kind of got me through some times, because when I graduated from college, there weren't any women band directors either. It was a male profession. And it was rough trying to get into that profession, because some of them, they gave me a hard time. They didn't want a woman to beat them at what they were doing. So we had to be twice as good as everybody else. So we worked extremely hard. So all those things, of course, have changed over the years. There's all kind of women band directors now, but there are all kinds now. But I would say I'm probably one of the first in East Texas. So there were a few that I could model myself after, but not very many. And there were no head band directors any place, So that has made a whole lot of difference. As far as students that have gone through our band program, I'm sure it's into hundreds or thousands. I don't know, but most of them I can remember. All of them, when I see them, they'll go, "You don't remember me, do you?" And if I can't remember their name, I know I can remember their face, and I can remember what instrument they played, because I see their face sitting there playing that clarinet or playing that trumpet. I can go through that. But there's so many students that have gone through our program, and I hope I've affected a bunch of them positively. Along the years, there's a few that you can't help that can't adapt to what we do out here, but most of them are very successful in our program, especially since we send so many, to college and they play. I got a text from one of the professors at SFA the other day, and he said, when I was judging at State Solo and Ensemble, I judged one of your French horn players. And he said, I was very, very impressed. He said, is there any way she might be interested in coming to SFA or coming up here for a lesson, or do you think she might be interested in that? And so I texted him right back, and I said, well, matter of fact, she's going to be a music major, and she is planning on coming to SFA, so you will have her as a student. And he goes, we love those Hallsville kids. And they do there. They tell me that all the time. They said that the kids from some of these bigger schools in the Houston and Dallas area, they just take things for granted. It's just, okay, I'm going to be in the band, and it's not fun. He said these Hallsville kids have something that nobody else have. They have heart, and they'll get in there and they work until they get it. They may not have had all the opportunities, these big schools in those Dallas areas. They have private lessons every day. They have a private teacher that comes at the school, and that's part of their daily routine, and we can't compete with that. So our kids that make all state and all region and all those kind of things have to work real hard on their own and just with us. I do try to bring in people that teach privately some for us and do sectionals for us and help us on the music and stuff, but most of it is the kids just working hard on their own. And not every place is like that, so it's very important, and those kids go up there and they are successful in the band program at SFA. I've got them at Texas A&M. In fact, I have a picture up here in my office. One of the commandants of the Texas A&M band, that's the head drum major, was from Hallsville, Texas.
Really?
Yes, Mr. Trevin Hazel. And when he was in the band there, they were on their way to a football game, and they stopped here in Hallsville. I'm real good friends with the director at A&M, Dr. Timothy Ray. He comes and works our band every year. So he asked if they could stop here and use our football field to practice. And so we had the Texas A&M band out on our football field practicing, and the stands were full. It was like there was a football game going on. The stands were full out there just to watch the A&M band practice. and I got to see Trevin out there marching again with the A&M band on our Hallsville football field. So there's all kind of special things that we've got to experience over the years. Some of the trips that we've taken the kids on, you know, we're a traditional military marching band, so we follow military rules and do the things that you do in military. Strict discipline out here. We work hard. When we say we do stuff, we have to learn fundamentals. It has to be exact. It has to be alike, and it's very, very difficult to do those things. So the fact that we are a military band, we were invited to march in the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. We had to send in a videotape, but they asked us to come march, and they saw our band and saw that we were military. And so in the parade, at exactly 2:36, they were going to play taps, and they heard our band play, and they were going to station people along the parade route. They stationed one of our trumpet players every 400 feet in that parade. And our trumpet players are the ones that played taps. It wasn't anybody, other school, anybody else, all the bands there. It was the Hallsville trumpet players. And so the next time we went back, we were again invited, and we went back and marched in that parade again. It was a great experience for the kids to see all the things in Washington, D.C., to learn about our government, to go to the Capitol, to see all those memorials out there. And that was very touching, watching them see those, and to go to all the Smithsonians and see. It was a very educational trip for those kids. Some of them have never been out of Texas, so and Louisiana's right here. So it was a really good trip. When we went that next time, we were the lead band of the parade. We led the parade, the Hallsville Military Marching Band, the Roaring Band from Bobcat Land. So we've expanded. You know, we're international, so to speak. We're not just here in Hallsville or here in Texas or here in the United States. We were again invited to a very, very, very special experience, a once-in-a-lifetime trip, when we were invited to the 75th anniversary of the attack of Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. So our band did experience that. Our parents had to work extremely hard. Our kids raised the money themselves. There was no school money involved, none at all. The band booster was not able to pay any money toward their trip. They helped us get things that we needed and things. We did fundraisers, we did donations, we did all kind of things. We had people that were very generous and made some donations. If a kid was having a hard time getting the money for their trip, we had people that stepped up and sponsored students and stuff so they could go on the trip. And I can tell you, it was one of the most memorable trips that I've ever been on with kids. I was responsible for 4 plane loads full of kids and parents, and getting them there and getting them back home and getting all that organized. And I did get, most of the time I'm pretty patient and can get through things okay. I did get a little stressed at the end. We were expecting to be able to take our instruments on the plane and not have to pay. And at the last minute, our person that was in charge said, y'all are going to have to pay to take these instruments, which was going to take about $10,000. And we're going, oh my goodness. And so that was a point I stressed out. I was very, very worried about that. And we started praying about it. I said, God, you're going to have to help us, or I'm going to have to go to the bank and borrow $10,000, some way to get these kids over there. And one of our counselors was a band parent, and she helped very, very much. She helped us contact the American Airlines and talk to them and see if they would give us at least half price on the instruments, because we were trying to put all the flutes and stuff in one big suitcase, and it was going to cost so much per instrument. Like our sousaphones were going to cost us $650 a piece to take, and it was just unbelievable. So she talked to them, and finally they kept sending her to different people, and she got in touch with this one lady who said, well, let me talk to this guy and I'll get back with you. And so she came down here and she said, I think they're going to let us cut the price. It won't be as much, and we can take the instruments, and it won't be near as much, maybe $2,500 or something, which I was grateful for. And while she was down here talking to me, she got a call, and it was from the CEO of American Airlines. And he said, we're going to let you take those instruments for free. So it was like American Airlines donating $10,000 to us. So at that point, it just let me know how much that God supports what we're doing out here in our program, because he took care of that for us. And he took care of us on that trip and everything that we did. And when we got to Pearl Harbor the morning that we were going out, December the 7th, the attack day, they had us out there at 5 in the morning. And so I took our seniors, because you have to go out on a little boat out to the Arizona Memorial. And so we had a wreath we were going to place out there. And, of course, the whole band was going to eventually get out there, but the seniors were the first ones. We were the first ones to go out there. Out of all the people that were there that morning, they took our Hallsville band seniors. And as we waited on that little boat to go out there, we see them roll this gentleman out there on a wheelchair. He was one of the 3 survivors of the Arizona at that time. And they got him out there on the boat. He was going with us. It was his first time to go back. And the Admiral of the Navy followed him and came out there. And the old gentleman tried to stand up to salute him. And the Admiral said, "No, sir, you don't salute me. I'm here to salute you." And when they played taps that morning before we went out there, the emotion with us and the kids and watching that gentleman, he got off and went on first, and we followed and put the wreath out there, and there wasn't a dry eye. I mean, the kids they experienced what they learned in class. They had learned about all these things, but now they know. And to see them interact with all those veterans, it was the 75th anniversary, so there won't be another anniversary that has any of those veterans left that were out there. In fact, we took one with us from Marshall, and he went there. That was on his bucket list. He wanted to see that. And so we saw him at all the things. I have a picture. In fact, I have one here in my office up there of him by our wreath at the Arizona Memorial. And the kids, they talked to him and took care of him. And all the other ones out there, they would stop and talk to him. And as we got back from the trip, we got back on a Saturday. And his family went in. He told them, he said, "Man, I've done everything I wanted to do." He said, "I got to go back there." And he said it was just unbelievable. The next morning they went in and woke him up, and he had passed away. He had already made that final trip, and he had got to do what he wanted to do. And our kids from the band, we had kids from the band that attended his funeral and played taps at his funeral. So our kids really got involved in this, and I'm telling you, it has made a difference in our program, in everybody's life. It was something, again, you can't just say, "This is how it is." You have to experience it, and it's in their heart. And when they talk about it, they shed tears. So it meant a lot to them. And that's why I think us being a military band and the things we do and associate with our veterans is very, very important. In fact, my son was in the Marines. He was in the Marine band. Yes, and so in fact, I have a lot of kids go into the service from band, and when they'll text me and they'll go, they're out here trying to march, they always put them in charge because they know how to march and they have to learn to march military. And one young man made the statement to somebody that he shouldn't have made, because he told them, "Well, this isn't any worse than band camp." So they made sure he got to experience what it was really like to be a Marine. In the year 2016, I celebrated my 500th football game as being with the Bobcat band, because when I started school, we were in beginner band in the 5th grade, and in the 6th grade, you were in high school band. So you marched with them in the high school band. So that was 8 years of marching in high school. And then, I've been back here all this time and going to all those football games. And that is not even counting playoff games. I didn't count any playoff games. This is just regular season games. And I'm still going to football games. I mean, it's important. What people don't understand about the band around here, like, for example, the drill team. The drill team directors, we're great friends. The bells are part of our program. We're the halftime. We work well together. I mean, it's awesome how we do all those things together. And we're Bobcats, and the goal of a Bobcat is to support the Bobcats. And boy, we try to do it. I know, I'm going to tell this story because it's funny, but when I came back to teach up here at the high school, it wasn't, Hallsville didn't have a rivalry. We didn't have somebody that we were after all the time. And we kind of picked on each other, you know. The football team would call the band nerds or other things that weren't quite as nice. And the drill team and band didn't get along, you know. We didn't work together. And so when I moved up here, I said, okay, we're going to make a change. Well, my assistant that I hired to work with me that year, who was my cousin, he had gotten out of band directing. He had been out for 2 years, and I talked him into coming back. Well, he had been bodybuilding. He was Mr. East Texas. I almost made Mr. Texas in bodybuilding. So one of the things I had him do was, okay, let's go down to the field house and take some of these band kids and let's start working out down there with the football team. And they did, and it changed all that immediately. The football, I mean, we weren't what they were calling us anymore, you know. They were friends, and they took care of each other. I also got it worked out so the kids could play in the band and play football. In fact, I have a varsity football player that marches with us on Friday nights. He plays the whole game just about. He comes out there, takes his shoulder pads off, marches in his football uniform with his trombone. So we started that, and so we all worked together. I mean, but we still didn't have that thing of, you know, it's Bobcats against somebody else. And the drill team lady, when she took over that year, she came out and she said, I said, well, we need to get together so we can get this halftime together. I said, can you come out on a Thursday and let's make sure we've got this first game ready? Yeah, you mean you'll work with me during that time? I said, yeah, come on out. So they came on out. We went through the stuff one time and they started to leave. And I said, whoa, do y'all have enough time to do it one more time so we're real sure? She goes, you mean we can do it again? Yeah, we're going to do it again. And then we meet on Fridays and we do it. And that we started that tradition, working together, going over, helping each other. We have to look good and they have to look good. And it's very important for the band to be able to play for them and make it sound good so they can look good. I know some schools, their band doesn't even play for their drill team. So it's important for us to have that relationship with them and with the cheerleaders. And so we're all on the same team. So the principal at the time was Roy Knight. And I talked to him. He started that year at the high school, and I started as the band director at the high school. And so we came up with a plan. I said, we got to do something to get. So he gave me some keys to the building, and I made these big black wreaths and I put dog pacifiers on them. And we were playing Pine Tree. And I went down to the field house and I hung them inside the field house and put a sign on it that said, here, kitty, 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 kitty. And then I took a sign and a wreath and I put it on the front door of the high school. And I got an old practice flag we had that was gold. And I got some blue spray paint and sprayed a pirate, made it look like a pirate flag, and put it up the flagpole and tied it so they couldn't get it down with the ropes. And it was flying when everybody got to school that morning. And then I used to do puppets, so I had these puppet voices. So I made a tape. Back in those days, it was a cassette tape. I made a tape, and I wrote this poem, and it all rhymed, and it cut down everybody in Hallsville. I mean, the drill team was getting up on these big boxes that looked like circus boxes, and I said they were a bunch of elephants getting up on boxes. I told how bad the band was. They couldn't march and play. Got the majorettes and flags, got the cheerleaders, got the football team, it was, and Mr. Knight, before the pep rally, he gets on the loudspeaker and he says, I got this cassette tape in the mail today. And he played it, and it was that poem making fun of Hallsville. I'm telling you, from that point on, we had a rivalry. That started it. And I started the rivalry, and with my band, we had a little poem that we read. They had the freshmen had to put a fish with their name on it so we could identify them. But we had a little poem that said, "I am a freshman. I am the lowest form of the lowest snail that ever swam the depths of the deepest ocean. But I am greater, 10,000 times greater than any senior who ever graduated from Pine Tree High School." So we got that rivalry going, and it's been a good, healthy rivalry through the years. And that's important for us to all be united, to be Bobcats, to be together, for our community to be united, for us to be able to do that so that we can do what's right for our kids. That's so important for us to be able to do that. And that got that going, and that's made a whole lot of difference. And so I feel like over the years, since I am a Bobcat and I do bleed total purple, that I have some insight of our community. I know things about it. I know things about people. Of course, they know things about me too, and so some of it we'll take to our grave. But I know what has gone on, and I've seen our school district progress and to what it is today. And I'm telling you, you're not going to find a better place anywhere, not just in the state of Texas. I can't imagine any place being better than Hallsville, Texas, and Hallsville ISD. And I wouldn't want to stand in front of any other band besides this Hallsville band. And you couldn't pay me money to do it. Money's not the issue. We've got something special that nobody else has here. And it becomes, like I said, it's a lifestyle. It becomes your life, and it's who you are. And so, they told me, they said, when you finally pass away, we're just going to stuff you and put you out here by the trophy case. So, that's what it's about. I'm glad that my life is a part of this, that I've been given the opportunity to be able to be up here, and the administrators that support us, that take care of us. I mean, it's just unbelievable to see what they do to help us and make things better for us and our kids. When we go through hard times, they're here supporting us, and Hallsville's just a great place. You can't find a better community. I think I like to watch Andy Griffin all the time, and it's got that. It's that spirit. And I told the band kids the other day when we were having the 911 memorial. We sent a trumpet player to play taps and stuff, and I was talking to them, and we showed the clip of 911 and what happened that morning and everything that took place. And then the next day, I was talking to them about the Democrats and the Republicans on the Capitol steps singing "God Bless America" and the spirit they felt, the emotion they felt. I said, and that was that day they felt that. And they wanted that to last forever, but it didn't. It lasted for a little while, and then it was out of the way. That feeling that they had that day when they did that, our band kids and our band program, we have that every day. We have something special like that. And it's that feeling that we carry with us, When we go to contests and they call out the ratings, there's one school particularly from around here, and if they make a first division, they just stand there. They don't clap. They don't show any emotion. When they say Hallsville, Division I, you can't hear any of the other ratings because we're yelling the whole time. We have worked hard. We deserve to celebrate, and that's what we do. So that's kind of what our band program is about. That's what Hallsville's about. I could go back and tell you about all these people that have been in the Hallsville band, that we've been in it together and things we've gone through. And I've seen things that have taken place, but it's always been a staple in my life. The Hallsville band has. And the community, they've always been here for me. And you can't find a better place. And I think this program and what we have here, the kids, the parents, the support we have, it makes a difference in kids' lives, and that's what we're here to do, is make a difference, a positive difference, and help them. So I'm just thankful that God's given me this opportunity, and that I'm still able to come up here and do it because I'm still having fun.
Yeah, well, good. Well, I think it'd be an understatement to say that everybody in Hallsville is glad that you're here.
Well, thank you so much. It's again, when I came and applied for the job here, there wasn't a job. I had heard that they might be trying to hire a junior high band director because that was the year that they couldn't use the 8th graders in the band anymore. And so I didn't apply anyplace else. I didn't go apply anyplace else. And so the superintendent at the time, whose daughter also was a woman band director, he called and they had me come interview for the job. And so I talked to him and he goes, well, what would you have to come here? And I thought he was going to ask me questions like, how can a woman have discipline and do all this? I was all prepared on that. And he goes, well, what would you have to come here? Well, I didn't have any idea. I said, I would have come for free at the time. And we talked and had a good interview and left. And so I waited and I didn't hear anything and I didn't have a job. And it was almost time for school to start at that point. And so finally I called Mr. Woodridge and I said, I was just calling to see if y'all had made a decision on if you were going to hire anybody or if you had already hired somebody. And he goes, your contract's in the mail. So God worked that out too, everything. I see God in every aspect of what has taken place, so I give him all the glory. That's where it goes. And I'm what is great to me too is, these kids out here know that too. We have chaplains because the kids pray before we go and do things. And this year we had so many that wanted to be chaplain. We couldn't pick chaplains. So what we have is a prayer warrior team of chaplains. So, it's just important. And those things come first, and they think of those things first. In fact, yesterday, Marshall lost a young man, one of their football players, in a tragic accident on his way to school. Well, the kids came up to me immediately because they've been through that. They know what it's like. We've got cards that they signed to send to Marshall. They had prayer for him this morning. They know that's what makes the difference. And so I'm telling you, that's what it's all about. That's what life is all about. Again, like I said, it's not just playing the horns and getting out there performing. It's life lessons and it's young adults doing the right things. All we hear about is the ones that don't, but we got great ones out here. Like I said, I wouldn't want to be anyplace else.
That's awesome. Well, we don't want you to go anywhere else.
I'm not planning on it. Okay.